Hey guys, I'm Sdanwolf. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to episode 2 of Sable's Rest. Remember, if you're new, if you're just catching on, this is our Oasis themed kind of like theme park build, you know. We're jumping in and trying to test the desert biome because I've hardly ever built anything in it, and I just wanted to try something different other than the always building in the Alpine map like I'm accustomed to. I think the only time I've ever built in the desert map really was for that Mars build that I started a couple years ago. But like I said, I just wanted to get in, do a little bit different spin on it, and it's ended up working out, I think, killer. Particularly on episode 2 here, where I was able to find this awesome water texture. I actually just Googled it. Like this, there was some watermarks on it. I actually tried to buy it because, you know, you want to like support people that have taken these shots and put them on there, but it keeps going to a dead link. So normally, like on Shutterstock and stuff, you can get these really cool images for like 75 cents or $1. But so yeah, anyways, I had to rip this off of Google because sometimes you can actually even see some of the little water markings they put on there. But hey, I tried to pay for it. They don't have the stuff set up right, or if it was somebody else stole it and then was trying to resell it, I don't know. But it's out there on Google if you want to go give it a try. But anyways, so this is screens right here. So basically, like, you know, this is all I've done. I've named this the best texture because it's the best one that I had found just by Googling coral reef texture. Now, I had Googled water texture, pool, like tropical water texture, but those were coming out really pool looking. And just that they were way too static, and I wanted something with a little bit of, like, you know, a little bit of character, like a little bit of algae, a little bit of growth, sand, and basically this one ended up, I think, working out perfect. And one thing I did also was I pulled a Rudy, like he'll sometimes do. Notice how the bend kind of, I made this section of the board actually tilt up, and when you do that, look how bright it gets up here, and that really helps indicate shallowness. So obviously we're getting up more towards the edge, the water is a little more shallow, and I did the same thing over here. And of course this is a little more covered by the whirly rig, you know, kind of like Q here, so that's a little more covered up. But over on each end, I think that just makes a world of difference when you're trying to differentiate between the shallow water and a little bit deeper part of the lagoon. And also a big shout out to Deadeye Duck. I was able to bring in, remember he did his little stingrays back when I was doing the zoo build? So yeah, we've got us a little stingray family in this first little small lagoon. Now I plan on there being a larger lagoon. I know a lot of us were talking about, like, wouldn't it be cool if you know, you built a lake and everything was surrounded by it? Well, I think that is going to be cool, but I think I want to do it more over here and make it larger than this one. So this is going to be, you know, very large, spring-fed, natural, you know, kind of like natural spring-fed lagoons. And I was even thinking, you know, we could even just pretend these are like freshwater stingrays, and this could be a completely freshwater pond here, lagoon. But also, to back us up, if you all thought it would be more realistic if this was like more of a salty type water, I brought my old swak hammer, like my forge, my welding shop, and I've essentially turned it into a makeshift, for theming purposes, a water purification station. So basically, you know, they can pump the water up out of the lagoon, and they purify it in here, and then they bottle it up, or they barrel it up for the different merchants and the hotels and the shops and the repair shops. Everybody in the Oasis can come, and that's where they refill their water bottles or get barrels of water, and they bring them back to their shops and their bed and breakfast and their inns, and all of kind of what's going on down here. That is where they go to pick up their water orders. So that is the whole kind of mess of what's going on over here. And then also I thought it would be cool to have like little makeshift wind turbines out here. They've got two older plane engines, and you've got the electric cables hooked up. I've got to give a huge shout out to my buddy Darks. You can find it on the workshop. I'll link it down below, but it's like DARKZ''S. And this is his Arabian, kind of like Arabian tower markets. And you really got to be committed to come up here and get a drink out of this. But I just thought it looked so awesome, and kind of like the presence that it has sitting over the lagoon, I think just looks really, really awesome. And we also have our second statue down here. This is by, I believe he's called Egyptologo 91, and he found this model. This was this carpenter is actually like from a 2012 video game, and he was able to take the model and import it over. So that's TMTK, and I thought it just looked really cool sitting at like the corner base of the lagoon right here. And this is like a carpenter, kind of like a craftsman's, paying tribute to the craftsmen's of the Oasis by having that statue here. And then of course my Call of Duty Mina's Cafe. She's got a really prominent little coffee spot right here on the lagoon, right here on the corner. Very, very busy for her. And then right here I've got another little filler building. That's just my Disneyland Peter Pan just kind of facade. I just thought it looked really cool, especially with the clock faces. And if you're making your way around the lagoon, you can look up and see what time it is to decide which way you're going to head. Another cool thing I was able to pull from way back, my Mwangas. Remember, this was like my African style steakhouse that was in the zoo build of Planet Coaster, the Planet Coaster zoo build from a year or two ago. So right here, it's got a very prominent spot as well, overlooking the first lagoon, but that's not it. Check this out. We'll turn the lights off. Let's go to 11:30 p.m. And if you're going into Mwanga's to get you a steak or let's say a burger, check this out. I pulled another from the throwback. Remember, this was my old adventure restaurant that I never really got to finish. And I'm going to get us some really cool adventure like paintings up on the wall. I've got to get the koi fish, their glass back. But this, a couple of you guys were saying that, remember we were talking about needing like a giant restaurant for the guests to come to, and I think this worked out really, really well. And like I said, it just kind of hides behind Mwanga's facade pretty well, I think. And so let's get back here in the daytime, and I'll show you that a little more. So see, if you come up here, all of that is hidden within the cliffs in that mountain. So we actually have us a real hidden restaurant, adventure restaurant. Mwanga's essentially has an interior now. And I just think that come out really, really cool. And as a matter of fact, so let's make sure what we'll do is we'll park it here a minute and let's read some comments. You guys have given me some awesome feedback on the first Stables Rest episode. Let's see. Carl Van Fee said, keep going. I would love to see more Planet Coaster from you. Thanks, Carl. Leaf Scott said, oh, Dan, this is more like it. I watched the whole video. Lovely to see you finding your true self again. If you need me to go back into TMTK for you, let me know. And if you guys don't know, Leaf Scott helped me big time with my Disney build and the zoo build. So big shout out to Leaf. Wolf Tenor said, yay, glad to see you back in Planet Coaster. I always get tons of inspiration from your work. Thanks, Wolf. My buddy Jim said, looking good. Claire said, looking amazing, buddy. Would love to see you bring in some really early stuff, such as your pirate-style Kraken Kingdom with a marketplace, dockside area, perhaps, or even a hidden Atlantis-style area, like your water park ideas with a temple at its heart and a water coaster. Glad to see the Sdan Corky style is back and can't wait to see how it all develops. That was one thing I was telling Claire. We've got this water looking so awesome. I was like, man, should we have made this like my second or third attempt at a water park? I think we'll have to remember this texture when we go back. That will be definitely on my mind. Thrive said, looks really fun already. Robert Matthews said, yay, Planet Coaster. And Anubis Live, this one cracked me up. Anubis Live 81 said, yes, happy to see you back, man. I didn't really care for Planet Zoo. I'm still a coaster head, so it's great to see you back with Planet Coaster. I draw a lot of inspiration from your work. It's fascinating to me how you always add so many details to the buildings and paths, etc. It should be messy, but you manage to make it look very tidy. You are the master of controlled chaos. So I literally, like, you know, you'll text somebody back, laugh out loud, but you like don't even smirk. That one really made me laugh out loud. My buddy Dylan Kuhn said, I think there needs to be a prominent stable building, which I definitely agree with. I think we're going to work on that for episode 3. Or maybe a wooden coaster called the Stable that kind of loops in and out of horse and camel barns. I think that would really sell the horse statue. Also, I'd love to see the inclusion of the Mali culture. Mansa Musa is one of the richest people in history, all off the medieval salt trade and salt mines. So a Timbuktu homage would be neat with mosque-inspired architecture, the big domes and mud wall buildings. Love it so far. So definitely going to check into some of Dylan's ideas. Michael S. Punk said, I love the idea that the horse is the connecting element between all the different cultures. These are the best brought closer together over a shared meal. This is also the case in real life. So we need something like an international restaurant or market hall. And I think we've checked off Michael's wish list with our Mwangas, that masterful, huge restaurant with all of that seating. They could do giant meetings in there, you know, have planning commissions, dinners, banquets. Michael Greenslade, my buddy, said, maybe on the shore of your lake, some sort of beverage bottling enterprise to quench the thirst of the parched. And I think Michael is the really one that made me want to come over and bring in the water purifying plant. So, you know, it kind of, in a way, it's bottling plant. So big shout out to Mike Greenslade for that idea. My buddy Ann, she said, I agree with getting bored with Planet Zoo. More content and a redo on the whole guest situation is necessary. The main issues that I have is trying to keep the guests happy. It was set up as a guest-focused game instead of an animal game. But to be fair, going from a game like PC where you have so much more content now with all of the DCs, it's not a fair comparison to a newer game that doesn't have all that content. And I'd say she's right on that, but that's one of the things that has really drawn me back to this is like playing back in Planet Coaster now and getting used to all the controls. I forgot how easy it is to make what you're envisioning. And that right now for Planet Zoo is really, really tough. There's just not enough pieces yet. Where here with, with Planet Coaster, I have thousands and thousands of pieces at my disposal. So like there's hardly anything that I can drum up in my head that we can't make happen in this game. Whereas that's why I've kind of pulled back from Planet Zoo a little bit, because it's still stopping me a little too much. There's still things that I want to see happen that I can't make happen because the pieces just aren't there. So, you know, she definitely has some points there. I don't want to dog Planet Zoo too bad because it's still so new. Squidward's house said, what a great start to a park and a good story theme too. I can imagine the park expanding to look a little along the lines of how Dollywood looks, with themed roller coasters and attractions related to history, as someone mentioned, but also having the freedom to put non-history canon rides in too. I wish I had the patience to practice scenery and building in Planko, but I think my coaster layouts are more my specialty. Killer Capybara said, that's awesome. You should have different sections to the park like Arabia, the Western, Namibia, etc. Nick G85 said, wow, amazing. You guys definitely, I don't have enough time to read all of Coaster Designer's suggestions, but you guys have got to go on there and read all of the suggestions that he gave me on different ideas and avenues we could try. He's been a buddy of mine for way back, years going back into the, before we left Planet Coaster. So he's really, really intrigued that we've jumped back into this. But jump on here on that first episode and give his thread a look. I'm sure you'll get a good chuckle out of that. Kentucky Fried Coasters said maybe you can create an attraction for each race that shows what their profession is. For example, a minecart coaster for Americans or a dark ride all about kinds of Arabian jewels and artifacts. That's a really cool idea. Pingu Newt Newt said, I think a huge pond oasis area should be there, and it has a pumping system, which could be a story for a roller coaster about fixing or being a mechanic on the pumps. So Pingu Newt Newt and Michael Greenslade both contributed to starting a lagoon here and the water processing plant. So big shout out to those guys again. DZ Studios said you should add a training post, an outpost with tents, and a thought I had was to have a crashed plane store added to the story. That's really, really cool. Johnny Charisma wants me to do like a Moana underground coaster. He was saying he had a really cool idea. I don't know if we'll be able to do all of these ideas, but I'm definitely locking them away for safekeeping. And then Carl Weiser said first, also very nice vid. So anyways, guys, I just kind of wanted to get in here and show you what I have been up to for episode 2, and I have already started building on episode 3. So I hope you guys will keep coming back and joining me for this. And check this out. Going beside Mwanga's, I was able to save some more of my blueprints. So I've kind of started pushing out this way. So we've got our little market out here as well. That, I will eventually start detailing. Of course, kind of get this enclosed and all of that, and we definitely have to get in here and start on our start detailing and finishing up. Look at all the pictures and stuff I have to get inside Mwanga's, shore up the ceiling. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I think we have got a lot of fun ahead of us. I've got a lot of ideas, and you guys definitely keep them coming. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in this Planet Coaster stuff. Don't worry about the Planet Zoo stuff. We'll jump back in. I'm just kind of running with my my Planet Coaster crowd right now, and we will definitely be jumping back into Suyana Zoo at some point. But I hope you guys have a good weekend, and don't forget to leave me some comments down below and some ideas, and maybe we'll get you in on the next video, and I'll read some of your comments, and I'm going to hang out with our little stingrays here, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you. See ya.